So for the explanation, with the case when it wasn't running, what I was doing for this command line was that I was inside PL, which is in fact the package. And you have this class. So for compiling it, you have it with Java, and you have your args. Okay, example 2. Okay, and we are inside PL, and this is okay. This is to put it, okay, dot Java. No, it's okay. So this is how you compile it. Then when you want to run it with Java and you have your args example 2, and let's say you have argument 1, it will not find it because it is inside the package. So what you need to do is to go outside. You are exactly at this point, okay, not inside any package, because then it won't want to compile it. And if I run the same command, okay, this will be inside. Okay, you have the same command, but now this is inside the package, so you run it as being pl.args example2.arg1. So this is how you run it when you have a class stored inside the package, which is with the pl, and you need to provide it in this way, or else it will not be able to interpret it as being not at the root, but being inside. And if I have this one, another args example, which is not placed in any package, I will have to compile it with Java args example.java as a file. And to run it, it would be Java args example and say arg1, arg2, arg3. Okay. And it would display all the examples. So it is just the problem of having it compiled. And you just need to go, and when you want to compile this kind of class which exists inside the package, you need to compile it with the name of the package here in front. So I will take some screenshots with the snipping. You have two cases. Okay. So case 1 is when a class belongs to a package. When it belongs to a package, you will have to compile it at that level. Okay, it's all right. So you have it, the command with the java and the name of the file .java. Then you will have to get out. So you will have the command with cd and dot dot to go at the previous folder. Okay. And in this case, you will have to write the command with Java. Then you need to specify which is your package, where the package is PL. Then you have the name of your class, and then you've got the arguments. Okay, and this is the case when it is placed here inside PL. Okay, so this one exists inside your PL, and you need to be outside such that you can access it. I will place it here. Okay, now it's fine. Because as you can see, if I run it with example, what's this example 2? Let's be inside. Now it won't be able to find it if I go inside the PL and I have the same command. Again, it won't be able to find it because it wants to search inside the package PL, which it cannot access because you should be outside of it. And you should put the package name in front, and now it works. Now being outside, this is the case with args example. Args example needs to be compiled. So you are outside. As you can see, you're not in PL. You're inside Java. This is the folder. And being inside it, I want to compile the args.example. So it's args example.java. Okay, it got compiled. I can use dir and I can see that it was compiled at this time, this hour. And to use it, I will have the command with Java. I have the name args example, and I can have argument 1, argument 2. And it works. Okay. So this is case 2. When a class does not belong to a package. So you use packages for organizing different Java files. Okay. And this is your args example, which is placed here. It is placed inside Java. And this is why you have this path, okay, until Java as a folder. You write the command with Java with no package in front, and you have the arguments which will be displayed. Okay, is it clear for everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so the thing was just that you were having the class inside the package and you were not being able to run it when being at its path, because it wasn't seeing it as it wanted to search inside the package. Okay, going onwards. Now you can have the while. While is executed during the period when you have this expression being true. And you can have one instruction or multiple instructions being a block. Okay, in this case, don't forget that you should have just one option when you should exit this infinite loop. Because while this expression is infinitely true, you would remain blocked and your program would never end. So it will be evaluated until your condition, this that you have here, this expression becomes false. And let's say what you have here. This is with the response. Okay, read response. Okay. Oh, let's have it in. Let's say here, and I can say that there's a response. Next, we make string args, and we have this code. Let's format it. Okay, the quotes are not right. How do you read a response? Which are the commands which you should have for reading a command? Like here. What do you have to use? What did you use before? Okay, and I should close the class. Okay, and this is my response, which should be initialized. So it can be now. Okay, so let's see here. How do you read this response? What did you have before? For reading, you need to use scanner. And scanner can be found here where you have this line with scanner input. And as you can see, you will have an error because you did not import the class. So you can have this import class, or you write it and it will add it over here as being inside the Java util. So don't forget that you can have it inside the JDK, inside Sun. So Sun, this Java belongs to the company called Oracle, but before that it belonged to the company called Sun. So as you can see, the code inside it remains the same as the old code, which was defined at the beginning of Java, because rewriting code means that you have expenses. And in this case, we will be using java.util. Then you would like to receive your response. So it means that you need to get it. And you have this line where, in fact, you have the response as being equal to your new line. Okay. So it will say every time that you lost again. Okay. As well as you will be asked if you want to play another round, and you display here your response. So it will simply ask want to play, and you have the yes or no. So you have the print, and you will be asked. You can say here answer or response with print line. Okay. And as you can see, you have the whole thing. Like here it will say while the answer is not no, it will say that you lost again, and it will be in this loop such that you should read the response again. So you should copy again this code. What it means here is that every time you run the game, it will tell you these answers. Let's see. You can say here play a game, and then you will read the answer. And while the answer is not no, it will simply annoy you by telling you that you lost again. So let's see. No, this one works. So it will ask you if you want to play the game, and then it will have this infinite loop, and it will simply want you, okay, to read again. But why doesn't it exit? What misses? Why does it keep doing it? Which line of code do you miss? What should you do? We couldn't
Put
hear.
break.
A break means that you exit for good the loop, and it was executed just once. So if you do like this, and I write yes, see, you enter just once, and break exits the loop. But you want it to be repeated until you get the answer no. So you would need here a response. Now you want to read something, but you didn't add the line. So you need the response. And the response is yes, yes, it will say that you lost again. And if I type no, as you can see, it is case sensitive. So you need to put no in this way. And what you can do for strings is this equals ignore case. Okay, so you can put here answer as being yes or no explicitly. Okay, and in this case, you will know what you expect. So if I type here yes, it won't be any of these. You can say here yes. If I type no, now it will exit no matter the case. So I can even run it, and if I say here no, it will not enter at all the whole loop, because it means that it is equal to ignore case of no. Okay, and if I write here yes, no with uppercase, it will still be equal to what I have here. Okay, so whenever you have strings and you want to compare them, the best case is to have it with this ignore case. If you want to compare according to a number, you have it with equal equal. Okay, so this is how you do it. Okay, adding code. Okay, then, and what you can do is you can have another case here. You have break, as your mate says, or you can have continue. And continue means that you go on forward. So it can be the case when let's say, so with continue is like while you have the answer. And for continue means that you need to go to the next one. So here it can be, again, if the response, if response that equals, in our case, so it can be yes. And you will have a comment. Let's see. You can put, and you can have something like continue. So it would still execute the whole loop. And it will say, are you sure? And then you lost again. So with this continue, you still go on forward. And if I have something like, I can check it. So whether it's yes, continue, and you can have it else, and you can put an if response that equals ignore case, and to be no, and then you can have a message, thank you playing, and it will simply be a break. So you have yes, Les, are you sure? And again, you say no, and it will tell you thank you for playing. So it will already exit the loop here, and you also have this message at the end. So now you see the difference between this one with continue. So continue means that you go to the next phase. Okay. So what you can do here is instead of this while, I can have a for, I can have an I equal to 0. Let's say you have 10 trials, I plus plus. And I want this to end. It is ending at the end. Okay. What you will see here is that when you want to, you will have this continue of it, but I will get increased. So with this yes, you will have it increased. So continue will go and increment I. Okay, so we'll increment to I, and you go again, you enter again the for loop, whether I is less than 10. Okay, and you do it several times. So if I put this yes, so let's see also the y. Are you sure? And you have this parenthesis I equals. And we can have the I. Okay. And let's see if we have it in this case. Okay. So if I write it again, it increments, it enters again the loop. Okay. So this is how it is. And if I write no, it will simply have this case and thank you for playing, which no matter the I, whether you have 10 trials, it will simply exit everything. Okay, so it will increment I and enter the for loop again. So this is the scope. Okay. And let's see. So we did the switch, we had while, and you can have the do while. So for this one, you see that you enter it at least once because you have do, you get all the instructions executed, and then you have the expression which is evaluated. And whether the expression, this evaluation of the expression is true, then it will repeat the block of code. If not, it will not repeat it, but it will still execute it at least one time. So let's have a do while example. Do while. Once again, boy name string args. Okay. And I have my response. So, and again, reformat this one from PDF. Read response, so you read from the keyboard. And you have this do. Okay. And you have while and the response. Okay. Here you don't have it aligned because the scope was to find out which it should be. So here it wants to initialize it. Okay. So here it means that you do it at least once. It enters it. And you repeat it while it doesn't equal no. So if I run it, okay, you have a null pointer in this case because this response is null. And what you should do is, okay, can be an empty string. Okay, and being an empty string, it will run it indefinitely. Okay, so this case would be to read again the response. So what do we have? It's scanner what? S equals new scanner of system dot input. Okay, and my response will be what? I have my scanner dot and has the next double next line. Okay, so this is how you read line by line. Okay, and this needs to be exactly an O written like that. So it's not case sensitive. You want to play? Yes. If I write it like this, no. It will say no, no, no. So you can say indefinitely. And it will still be inside it as well as, so you write at least once and he should provide the answer until you write exactly as being this no. So, what you can do is to place it here and to be yes or no explicitly. Or you have this, so now if I run it, and I know what I have to write, so now it was yes, no, now it got out, but you can have the equals ignore case. Okay, so as you can see, you enter the block at least once, you get the response according to which you evaluate. So let's say that this is yes, and if I say no, then it will enter. But whatever the case, so here I can write whatever. It is still none of the cases. So being no, again, it exits. And this is the example with a do while, which means that you enter at least once and then the block gets repeated. What you can also do is to have a case, so you can say if response does not, isn't none of the options, yes, or. So you have the logical or. Okay, response. Okay, equals of no. It means that, so this or is in fact written like this. So OR is the equivalent of these two pipes. And okay, so whenever you have one argument, when you have 1 or 0, this means 1. So it will be true. Okay. But if you have 0 or 0, this is 0 and okay, being false. Okay. Then you also have the logical AND, which is the equivalent of two of these, which is the answer if I have 1 and 0. This is equal to what? Where 1 is true and 0 is false. So which would be the result? True and false gives what? The logical true and false. Mhm. True and false. Anyone present?
It will be false.
Okay, so it is 0, which is false. And the same comes from 0 and 1. It's the same thing as being false. So you need to have two arguments which are true in order to receive an answer which is true. Okay. And 0 and 0, of course, is 0. I can also write this one. And here is the same. So I can have 0 or 1 as being 1, which is true. Okay. And if I have 1 or 1, this is 1, which is true. Okay. Good. So now, whether the answer is not yes or no, you will say "Cout, you have entered the wrong answer." And what do you need to do now? You can have the break, but anyway, it will exit. So, okay. So if I have this star, as you can see, okay, the response was not no, but because I did insert the star, it will say that you have entered the wrong answer and it will throw you out. Okay, because you should answer just with yes and no explicitly, no matter the case. Okay. So this means that whether it's different there. Okay, so this would be false. So what should be done here not to happen? Why does it exit?
Because of the break?
No, it's because of the logical OR. So in this case, I have my response equals to yes. So it would be one argument which is false. And in this case, you would have AND. Okay. And as you can see, whether you do have it in this way, you have one argument here. Okay, this is the difference. So if I have my response equals to yes, which would be for if the response. Is it different than yes? Different than equals. So it means that the result here for the first block would be how much if the response is yes? So you have here different than what? Response equals yes, it would be 1. Different than 1 means to invert it, so it would be 0 for this code. Okay, in the case of the response with yes. Okay, so you have returns 0, but you have this one. Okay. And in this case, you would have what? For this thing, you will have different than response equals, in our case, to no, is how much? If your response is yes,
1.
so it will be, it doesn't equal this one, so it would be here 0, which would provide you the value 1, yeah, for this thing. And this one would return, okay, returns 1. So now having this case, I will delete the last one. Okay, if you have it with this type of connection, you will have what? You have in fact 0 or 1, which is equal to 1. So this is why it was exiting. So meaning that you exit the loop when the user types yes. And this is not quite okay because he needs to choose between yes and no. So this is why. So you need to change this operator or with and. You need to have both conditions. So it means neither the response needs to be yes, no matter the case, neither the response needs to be no, no matter the case. Okay. So this is why you need to use the logical and. And now it behaves okay. So let's see, I have yes in this case, I have yes. So this is another option. I can have these two letters like this or whatever. Okay. So all the probabilities, but if I add something like star or whatever, it will say that it is neither of the answers, so it will exit it. So this is the scope. I will put here inside. Okay, good. All right. Then you have a loop. So you can have for, you have an initial condition, then you would like to increment it, and you have your post incrementation. So in fact, before entering the body of your loop, it will initialize, let's say like here, I equals 0. Then what it will do, okay, you also have the condition which is evaluated, okay, I less than 10, then, okay, you also have the instruction which is performed. So what you have here as a block, here you would have just to display the numbers one after another. So you can see that it is on the same line because you have print and not print ln. And you have the separator of space between each and every number from 0 until 9. At the end of performing your block here as a logic, you will have to increment I. Okay, so what you first do is you have I equals 0. You check the condition, you enter the body. After entering the body, you need to perform again the past condition, which is this incrementation. And after that, you verify again the condition such that you see whether or not you repeat this block. Okay. Let's have this one too. I will have a new class. And let's say that we have a for loop. String i's squared, because it is like an array. Okay, and I have one by one. Check. So let's see what happens here. I will also add some more lines. Alright, so you have the value of I. And you will have the whole series from 0 until that one. That will be with 1. Okay, and you obtain all the numbers. Okay, so let's see. Let's have it also with the output. Okay, what you do firstly is to initialize. This is step 1. You allocate a variable I inside the memory, you assign the value 0. Then you need to check, okay, this condition. This is 2. Then you need to enter the body. So you have all the instructions. You have 3. After that, you will have to do this block. And after doing the block, you need to enter again the condition. This will be 5. Okay. Step 5. Then step 6 will be here. And again, you repeat. So you have 7 and so on. So let's see. In fact, what you do in blue is from here, I do the block. From the block, I need to do my increment. And after my increment, again, I check the condition. So in fact, it is a loop. Okay. So you have here condition. After the condition, I need to execute the whole body, which exists between the curly braces. Okay, this is my body. And after executing my body, I need to execute my post condition. So that one, post incrementation. Okay, post. So you have it exactly, post increment. Okay, you have the third argument of your for loop. Okay, so this increment. And then you repeat it while this condition is true. So you repeat. Okay. Okay. The for loop. Okay. While, so, or in fact, it is if my condition is true. If your condition is false, then you already exit everything. It's true. Okay. And I will place it here. So it's always you initialize, you verify the condition, okay, and then you have the next part. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, while this second condition is true, and then you just exit and you go on with what you have inside the main. What you can also have is to add your breaks and continue. So let's see here. You can have if whatever, if my I, oh, let's say we reached middle, if I equals. So you have this thing that if you put I equals 5, this is when you initialize, and it makes no sense. Okay, so it needs to have a Boolean result. You don't need to assign it. So you need to put it with equals, and this is the case when it compares and it returns a Boolean result. So whether it is 5, you exit, okay? You exit the loop, and meaning that when exiting, you exit it for good, such that you won't go forward. So if I run it now, okay, as you can see, when you did reach this one break, means that you exit the for loop. Okay. All right. As well as what you can do is that we can skip an element. Okay. So let's have it like this. And I want again to print everything. And this will be case 2. Okay. This is my case 1. Double quotes, or else it's a character and I have too many characters here. Okay, so whether it is 5, what I can do is to have this continue. And when having this continue, it means go to the next value. Okay, so just go to the next value by doing what? Again, you have this post operation. Then you need to verify condition. Verify condition to see or not if you repeat this block. So now let's see what happens. In fact, you see that with this continue, you will simply skip the 5th element. Okay. So when having it in this case, what you can do is to have, let's say, if you have multiple instructions, you put them like here. And what I can do is to do a print, and I can say that I have a line. So I will skip it, and I have it split into parts. Okay, so when I did reach the 5th element, I have it split. Okay, and this is how you use the break and continue for it. Okay. Let's see. Now, as a recap of what you studied today, is that you can read from the keyboard. So whenever you read from the keyboard, you have it with scanner according to your system input. What you read can be with next line. This is of type string, but you can also have it with get integer. So let's have it here as that I can have next big decimal, byte, double, float, as you can see, long, short. Okay, so this is how you can receive it. Okay, and you get them one by one. Then you can have this reading from command line, which created trouble because I didn't see that it was inside a package. So as a recap for this one. What I need to do is, let's say, file path. Yeah, okay. In order to go to your root, this one doesn't want to. So you can navigate with CD. In Linux, CD tilde goes to home. Okay, you would have the CD of it. When you want to change and to reach exactly the part, you can even provide the whole path for it. So you can have it in this case. You have the whole line, you copy it, and you can type here CD, and you have the whole path for it, and it entered my PL. Now we are inside the PL, but having it defined inside the package, it means you can compile it with no problem with Java arguments example 2.java. Okay, and it is compiled. I can write dir and it simply shows it that it was compiled now. But when I want to run it and I have Java, it is called args example2 and I have this argument 1 and whatever. It will not read it because it wants to use the package. So I need to write it like here. I have pl dot and I have my example. Also, when being outside, we are outside, we have this args example. Let's compile it with java args example.java. Okay, it's compiled. I run it with java args example and I have arg1, arg2 and so on. Okay, it is provided. So whenever it belongs to a package, you put the package name in front. Then you have control structure. So you can have the if structure, if condition one instruction. If you have multiple instructions, you put it between curly braces. And you also have the else, whether you do not have the case of if, but you can continue this else with another if as it is here, but don't forget about the curly braces. Okay, because you did enter another block and you should have all the tabs that are used. Okay. Then what you can do is to have it in this case, if else according to the grades which you have inside. Yeah, it was here. Okay, so if else if and you get step by step. But the equivalent can be done by having a switch. And the switch is according to the expression which you need to analyze. So it is like this one with month or season equivalent. And you have the switch according to it. And you can see that whether you do not have the break, it will go until that case. So whether it is 3, okay, it goes until when you have the break. If you don't put the break, like here for constant one, whether it's true, if it doesn't have the break, it will go and execute the instruction list 2. Whether it does have the break, it will return the result and it stores it. Okay. As well as you need to define the default. This is when you have an error and it is none of the previous defined options. It will enter the default and also you have the break for it. Okay. Or you just put it like this one with invalid math because it still will go onwards. Okay. Then what you will have is the repetition structure. So you have the for according to your input value. So it is like here, which is you initialize, you have the comparison according to a criteria. After that, you execute the block, and at the end of it, you have this post operation, okay, after which you verify again the condition. While is executed when you have the input condition true, okay, such that you need to have while expression and this expression needs to be true. If not, it will not enter it anymore. Okay, this is for the for loop. So it is just while the example is true. And play. Okay, this is with a do while. So here in while, you just repeat this whole block when, as long as this condition inside is true. If not, you don't execute it anymore. But with do while, you enter at least once. Okay, so it will tell you the response and then it will simply repeat it whether you do have the case which is at the end true. Okay, so you do instruction or instruction list while you have expression which is analyzed at the end. So you execute the whole instruction list at least once. Then you compare this expression to see whether it's true such that you repeat the whole block. And this is the for loop. So you have input, you have your condition and your post condition. So you initialize, you compare, you execute everything that you've got inside the block, you perform the post operation, and then you need to check again. And that's all, as well as inside the loop, no matter whether it's a while, a for, a do while. When you have a break, you exit the whole loop, and whether you do have the continue, you go to the next element, which is exactly the case in this example. So when you have this 5 and you have a break, it exits the loop. Whether you do have a continue, just go to the next element, so I will be incremented. And that's it. So thank you for being present today. And if you have comments, you can ask. I will simply stop the recording.